Hey!
Oh my goodness.
How y'all doing?
Oh my God. Welcome to Studio B.
Yes.
What's going on?
B
How
for
y'all
boys.
doing?
Boys. If I heard the words, I would know them. One of those songs like you know the words, but as soon as they give you the first words, boys are young, boys are old. Well, they're mostly both. We like those boys. Boys.
80s club,
But
shaking,
we still like the boys.
big hair.
Yes. Yes, so what is today? Is Wednesday.
Today is
September
Wednesday,
the 9th.
September 9th. Oh my God, we're after Labor Day.
Yes, and I'm still wearing white. I'm fuck well.
Listen.
White, these shorts and see.
Off-white, ecru, eggshell type situation.
Right.
White enough.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes, boys.
Right. Hi. We are. Oh my God! It's fall. I don't give a fuck. It's fall. Like it's raining and it gets a little chilly in the air.
Yes.
I was like, it was damp and it started to get dark a little bit earlier. Like we in fall, and I was like, oh my God, we're in fall. People going back to school.
You know what this means? It's almost time. You know, some people live for pumpkin spice lattes. You know, I don't really fuck with pumpkin spice, but you know what I fucks with? I fucks with some apple cider. And
your apple cider, the little spiced one, the spiced spiked one. Yeah, I'm here for
that. And eggnog. You know, I live for some eggnog. And eggnog is one of my favorite beverages. Add a little dark rum to it, and
I'm gonna go ahead and let you go with that one.
Not a fan of the eggs.
Eggnog is it's okay. It just doesn't really blow my hair back. It's not a Bantu perm for me. It's not really, but it's okay. Like I will taste it, I will sip it, and I'm good. Like like if it's never someone said it's no more eggnog in the world, I'd be like, okay.
Yeah, but yeah, I love eggnog.
But so it's that time, and then it's pumpkin spice time for the candles.
Yeah.
So
listen, people like what they like. I just have never been a big fan of anything pumpkin, and it's not that I dislike it. I'm neither allergic to it or anything like that. It's just not my favorite. And that's empty sugar calories. So if I'm gonna have empty sugar calories, it might as well be some apple flavor.
Well, listen, I'm not
an apple. I'm gonna eat a lot of apples
recently. Green or yellow or red or
these honey golds and
okay,
a good old cold apple. I'm lazy, so I cut the apple, from around the core and cut it into little slices so I can eat it like I'm 5 years old again. And a piece of cheese.
I like green apples. Those fried apples. I like the golden delicious.
Oh, a good old fried apple.
Golden delicious with a little bit. Oh my goodness, let's go.
Take a tortilla, fry that girl up, and sprinkle some sugar and cinnamon on that girl, and put the fried apple and some ice cream on it. Yes!
Yes! My inner came right out.
Right. Oh, my goodness.
So,
yeah. So, that might just be a little simple, it's called a galette. A galette.
Listen, it's called a get in my gut. Hey, Penelope, how are you? Just wanted to drop in and say, you look great. Oh!
Hey, it's been a long time. Penelope was one of the people that was on the judging panel when I did IML in 2016. But I didn't do IML. I was on the judging panel as a talent master. I was actually a contestant. I don't like people enough. People have asked me, why don't you work for a talent? Because I don't really like people enough, and I don't feel like spending the whole year.
Smiling the whole year. Like, you won a title. It's like it's only been 10 minutes. You have a whole year to go.
Right. It's already enough, when I was the president of Onyx, and, then the pledge master or whatever role, to have to deal with majority people, but then to be a title master, and to be a title holder, and then have to do all that.
It's a lot.
But one never knows, you know.
I mean, but then the other thing is,
it could happen, but it's not high on my list.
For all those that are title holders, God bless you. All do a wonderful job.
Louboutin said the caramel sauce, but listen, I don't not the caramel sauce. It's a toffee sauce.
So wait. Let's go back. Is it caramel? Is it caramel? What is it like? I need to know what.
I don't think there's any difference. I think it's just the pronunciation.
Because it's literally, but well, no, it's also I've seen this the spelling difference of CRME like caramel versus caramel.
Well, you know what? I think it may be that one has milk in it because like caramel, I think is the one that they're made the same basic way. If you don't add any milk or any other products to it, it's caramel. If you add the milk to it, it's caramel.
Okay, all right. They taste the same for me, but you know.
But listen,
but it's you know it's good for me.
Link said caramel is a mountain, caramel is a flavor. Either way, I'm down with either one. But you know, since I started making that toffee, like for those toffee bars, I love a caramel, but I love a toffee even better because it's got that smoky.
Itching, because listen, I'll talk about that in a second. Itching. Listen, I went. So I'm
go ahead
doing.
And talk about it. I mean, while I go and find the spray.
I started going back to CrossFit, and so I hate lifting weights. I absolutely hate lifting weights. Nothing about this is exciting to me, and so I have to do something where I'm kind of entertained and I'm not moving. So I decided to do CrossFit. Mm-hmm. Well, the CrossFit location that I found, there's an inside place which is inside of the building, and it's like a big warehouse, and there's like no breeze blowing in there. They won't turn the fans on right now because of COVID. But right, the air is just not circulating. But then you also, since it's summer, they have people go outside. On the side of the building, they have the pull-up bars and the chin-up bars and the rings and stuff in the grass. So as I'm over there yesterday and I'm doing my pull-ups or whatever, working with the bars, I was like, this has got to, like, I'm in mid-pull-up, and I was like, did that mosquito just land on? So yeah, so I'm itching because they bit the shit out of me, and I like, it's just stuff.
Aloe vera gel.
I might do it because I'm itching all over the place, but they got it all on my leg. Plus you're sweating, and then it's like, oh my god, whatever. But
so how was your week other than the exercise?
The week was good though. Very relaxed. Not a whole lot. Got to spend some time with a lot of friends, some brothers that I haven't seen in a minute. I so miss gatherings of people. And this weekend I had the chance to kind of gather with a few people. We got to celebrate one of our brothers who's actually going to be moving eventually out of town. So that was great. Shout out to Cortez because it was great seeing you. And I also got the chance to go to one of my favorite restaurants, and of course, Cheesecake Factory. But of course, as I get up there, you know, I'm usually excited about this one dish, and I was just wet. So I like the Cajun jambalaya, and I like it.
Oh yeah. I love
but it. I was, first of all, the portion size was smaller, which isn't a bad thing. No, it's not a bad thing. But it's like, okay, normally I have a lot, I can't finish it, and I have another 2 meals off of it. Yeah. It was a little bit smaller, and then you know, I am of the Cheesecake Factory. I am a Dutch caramel apple cheesecake.
Yes, bitch. Yes,
it is amazing.
It's a whole ass apple pie.
Well, they took it off the menu.
Of a whole bitch.
They took it. Listen,
what?
Do not get me started. Oh my god. Woo! They took it off the menu, and it's been going now for probably about maybe 2 years now.
Oh, do I remember that? I feel like
I've been every time I go. I'm always like, I am that bitch. I'm like, so why did I take this off the menu? Like, I wanted to hear why it's off the menu. They're like, oh yeah. So every time I go in there, I complain about it.
I feel like everybody doesn't love it the way that you and I love it. Because I feel like a lot of people, like, because I used to tell people about
it's the best
apple, and they would be like, eh. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's like the best thing ever. Only thing that's as good is the key lime pie, because that's whole key lime pie on top of it.
I'm okay with it. It's
anything apple, anything key lime, I'm down with. So
we there on the apple. The key lime, I respect your choices, and that's not a bad thing. I respect your choices. But so they have this substitute, which is like a caramel. It's like caramel apple cheesecake. And I was talking to the guy, And I was like, hey, listen, I don't want to be that guy, but he's like, oh, no, I know. You're one of several people that always complain about it, that they don't have it, and we have this, and I can doctor it up, and I can make it look like it, I can taste like it.
They made you like a fake ass.
They have a caramel cake that has a layer of caramel over top and has some apples on the inside. So the apples and stuff and the cheesecake on the inside is great. It's not the same because it doesn't have that streusel on the top and the crumbles and so he said we crumbled the stuff over top of it. And it was a good attempt, and I appreciate him doing that, but it wasn't the same. Now, it was not bad. Let me be clear. But the little crumbles, I was like, it was a little bit too much. And then I didn't really get enough whipped cream. So I was like, I'm going to go ahead and eat that. I need to have a whipped cream. But it was okay. So, but I enjoyed that. And I got to laugh and joke with some of the younger brothers that just came in. So I had a good time. Like I was just sitting around just talking to them. So I had a good time. And shout out to motherfucking Links for this motherfucking jerk, motherfucking ass, motherfucking chicken. This jerk, motherfucking bitch. I'm not gonna talk about Dominion steak. I'm not gonna talk about any of that. But I'm just saying that motherfucking chicken,
Oh, the steak was good.
Bitch.
Yeah, but Links
the steak was good. Let me be clear. That's why I ain't gonna talk about it. But I'm just saying, but bitch.
Yes. So Links sizzled up a ton of chicken for our little get together, our going away party with Cortez, and that motherfucking chicken.
I have my last piece of
I still have some bone.
I got my last piece.
So he cut it up so we could have it like churrascaria style.
Mm-hmm.
But I kept all the bone, so I'm going to eventually make a jerk chicken soup.
Okay.
With the bones. I'm gonna take all the bones, put them in. I might do that this weekend. Yes, a jerk chicken noodle soup,
or like a tortilla soup, like a spicy tortilla soup.
Well, yes, I could do that. But what I have in mind is the jerk chicken noodle soup. Take the broth, take the chicken bones because they still got a lot of meat on the bones. Throw that in the pressure cooker.
Several, baby. Well, I get several motherfuckers.
Yes, motherfucking yes. So that was good. That was. You know what else was good? Is Papa's red beans and rice.
It was good.
It was good. It was subtly seasoned, and I do not mean that as an insult. It was like it wasn't like super strongly. It wasn't super salty, but I was like, this is really good. Yeah. It just had this real simple kind of, it was elegant.
It was. I'm not discounting any of the food. I don't know if any of you know, but Dominion can cook and cook very well. So I'm not. I didn't mention anything else other than
no. Yeah, my feelings were not hurt.
House and ever. The food was good. I actually did like the string beans.
The string beans and
melange, whatever it was.
So it was string beans, red bell pepper, and portobello mushrooms in a bechamel.
Yeah. So that was actually pretty good. That was pretty good too. But no, everything was good. And more importantly, again, the conversation and the company was really good. But
yeah, we hung out. That was good. Oh, and the carrot cake.
Yes, Mr. Carrot Cake was once again great food.
Yes, carrot cake. I am. I think this weekend, I'm going to experiment now that I know, because that's how I cook. And like eventually, I am going to start. I'm going to keep the BGKH thing because it's not really labeled BGKH. It's labeled. It just has a name now, and one of the channels on that is going to be BGKH, but another one is going to be the Dominion does, and then you'll be going into cooking. And because like I learn a recipe, and this is the where my job comes in. It's like, okay, well, where can I go with that? All right, so now that I feel comfortable making a carrot cake, carrot cake is just a spice cake. What could I do? I could do a strawberry spice cake. So that's what I'm gonna do this weekend.
No.
I'm not gonna have the raisins and everything in it.
I was saying I have concerns.
Yeah, you wouldn't put the raisins in it, but if you want to put a fruit in it, what I might do is like get some freeze dried papaya or mango, and use that, or apricots in it. So in place of the carrots will be the strawberries, and in place of the raisins will be some other dried fruit. it could still probably have the chopped pecans.
I have concerns. That doesn't mean it's not. I feel like Tim Gunn. I have concerns, but
I will make it work.
Okay. Well, make it work.
Yeah. Other than that, it was.
Tyra, I don't know what to tell you, baby.
It was a good weekend. Sater and I went to back to Rehoboth Beach on
I saw that
Friday. You had to work. You have a job. I don't have a job.
That was Saturday.
No, we went on Friday. We sure as hell did not go on Saturday. It was fucking late. Well, I didn't know that. Well, this is awkward. We I was like, oh, I'm glad because we got up relatively early and got down there because it was Labor Day weekend. So I was like, why are we going to the beach on Labor Day weekend, but we were just going for the day? And we didn't really experience much traffic at all, but coming back, all of the traffic that was heading across the Bay Bridge, I was like, yeah, not high.
It's a lot. And it's the official end of summer, and I'm sure with COVID, people were like chomping at the bit to get outside, and which is something.
And they were still, abiding by the rules for the most part, but it's just something weird and off. Thank you, Penelope. Yes, it does sound delicious. My strawberry spice cake with
I'm not saying
other fruits will be delicious.
I'm just saying I'm concerned about how it's going to. I'm concerned about how they're going to move all the flavors. That's it. But I will listen. I will be. I am quality control.
Okay. What was I saying before I was really interrupted by this bullshit?
You interrupted yourself. So
it was
coming back from the beach and
it was a ton of people, and I was like, yeah, I ain't got time for all of that madness. So we had a good time. Other than that, the job search continues, and we're making do. So everything is coming along, and I have some prospects,
Oh yeah, thank you.
His gays
baby boy brought up. Oh my God, some of these videos from over the weekend. So first, listen, I'm gonna go ahead and tell y'all. I love me a good ratchet scene. A bit,
but I mean, that sounded a little judgy, but
it was. I
will say that hanging out with you, I've had some fun ratchet moments.
Listen,
that I would never have had before because I would have just been like, I'm out.
But bitch, I'm ratchet from across the street.
Right. We're not in the shit. We would have never been in the videos in Atlanta. We would have been a 5-second video. It would have been like, bitch, what? Right, because let me tell you how these girls can't fight.
I can't
because the first time. Listen, I will always say what Whitney Houston said. I don't fight. I don't wrestle. I beat bitches up. So it ain't gonna be no what. Listen, I have for most people what would be considered superior momentum. I will use that momentum to shove your ass against the wall and beat your head in if you hit me or something. Now, if you just yada 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 blah blah blah, I'm just like, girl, keep going. Keep moving. Because I got too much to lose. Be fighting your young broke poor ass. Yeah, whatever. But if you hit me, or you fuck with one of my boys, then it's a whole other story. And it ain't gonna be no blah blah blah. It ain't gonna be no what's up. It's gonna be like
I'm going after you and keep it moving. Once I get that shit out, I'm done. I'm like, all right, I'm good. I'm
like, start the car. We got to go. Listen, bitch. Right. It ain't no hanging around. What's up? Right. Beat your ass, and then get in the car and go.
Yeah. We not. But yeah, listen. I hope.
Oh yeah, Links. We will fight for you, but then afterwards, I'll be like, what you do?
I'm gonna fight for you. Yeah, but I am gonna act like, bitch, what's going on? Like, I'm swinging, but what's
right.
What's going on? But
I'll fight for you, but I don't keep. I don't get too many times to defend.
No.
First of all, if it's something that you did, then the most I'm gonna do is pull you out of it. Yeah. I'm not gonna fight for you.
And for the most part, I will tell people I am not. If I'm with my crew and I'm hanging out
Right.
I'm very keen on let the girls fight if that's what they want to do. What I'm not going to do is I'm not going to let nobody jump anybody that I'm fucking with.
Right.
That's not going to happen.
Right.
Because I will tell people from the get go, if I'm ready to fight, bitch, I got this. Just watch them bitches over there. Listen,
watch the perimeter.
Listen, Desmond's on here. That bitch knows, and I will pull him out of it. Bitch, I'm good. Just watch them bitches behind me, bitches. I can't deal with 2 and 3 people. I can get through 2, but you go beyond 2, I can't fuck with them. Watch them other bitches over there. I can't fuck with them. I need to focus on this bitch. I'm very fuck up right here. So whatever. But anyway,
yeah. So if you get in a fight, and if it's some shit that you started,
yeah,
and they start, fucking with you, I will pull you out because I'm with you.
Yeah, let's go.
And if I got to wade into it or whatever, and then if somebody try to sucker punch me, then the end I'm like, go.
That's gonna be a problem.
Then I might use you as a battery.
Yeah, like that's gonna be a problem.
Right.
Like, bitch, step it up, bitch. Go.
Right.
So, but anyway,
my thing. So, other than the fight, which I just wish, it's. I'm not saying that people didn't used to fight before, but I think so much of the culture supports it, from Real Housewives to Love and Hip Hop to Basketball Wives. It supports this.
Don't forget the Denny's Chronicles.
And the Denny's Chronicles. Flatback sequence with the pussy out. But that supports this. It's not even conflict resolution because you're not resolving. You're escalating a conflict, if anything. And I'm just like, girl, what the? I'm always interested in the why. It's like, girl, what happened that you? What caused the first punch to be thrown? Because in almost 50 years of life, I can only count on a couple of hands when I was, a couple of fingers on one hand when I was ready to physically beat somebody's ass. The first time was my freshman year in college, and I did in fact whoop his ass. And then the only other times was that last year at Pride. Both of those times when them women called us faggots. And I was ready to whoop their ass.
I can't say that I've had.
Because you ratchet.
I can't say that I've had that. House and ever. And what I will say is, this is how I know I'm getting older. Earlier this year, I choked someone, and I was irritated that he made me choke him. Like, I was irritated. I got
that sounds like an abuser.
Well, I was irritated that I got myself so worked up that he took me out of my space, out of my space, and I put my hands on him. Maybe it is, but it is what it is. But I felt pissed off that I allowed someone to take me out of my space, and you took me out of my space, and then now I'm here. I am choking, and so I'm like, all right. But I got a little pissed off about that. But other than that, like, I'm good. It's been a minute since then. You're good. Yeah. So.
All right, we got a lot to talk about. First, Mufasa's on here, and Mufasa posted his own verses. And it was just like a meme. IHOP versus Waffle House. Who you got?
Waffle House.
Always Waffle House. I was like.
Waffle House, yeah.
Cheese, eggs, and raisin toast with a side of bacon and my hash browns. Scattered, smothered, covered, topped.
Wait a minute. Are we talking about the drama that goes along with the Waffle House, or are we talking about the
food at the Waffle House versus
I'm going to have to edit mine. I'm going to have to
edit. See,
food at the IHOP. Even though, and we just talked about this, about the omelets and how they have pancake batter in them, I'm gonna have to go with the. I'm gonna have to go with the.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not that the food is bad.
Yeah, no. I like their
if there
syrup.
If there is a Waffle House next to an IHOP, I will always go to the Waffle House first. In fact, I feel like I would, if there was a Waffle House next to a Denny's, next to an IHOP, I would still go to the Waffle House first, and then I feel like it's a toss-up between, and then the Denny's, and then IHOP is at the bottom. But that's like a toss-up.
That's a hard thing for me. I think in that instance, the first place that I want to go would be Denny's.
And I'm always hoping there's never a fight at the Waffle House. There's only one way in and out there.
Baby, the fights I've seen at the Waffle House, like over the years that I've seen, I'm like, bitch, y'all got it. I can't. This is too much.
Now, Tyra does bring up a good point. That strawberry syrup at the motherfucking International House of Pancakes, it's so good though. And listen, because you know what they do is they give you that big ass stack of pancakes with that little tiny ass pat of butter, and I'm like, excuse me, I'm gonna need
more butter, please.
A significant amount of butter, and I take a chunk and put it under each pancake and let that shit melt, and then put the syrup on it, and then and the salt of the butter and the sweet of the syrup. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Look, I get it.
Yes. Billy said, IHOP is daytime, Waffle House is late night.
Yeah. Okay, I can work with that.
Yeah,
I can work with that. So, but the closest one is like it's like somewhere near Baltimore.
Yes,
yeah. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Anyway,
because afterwards I'm gonna be like,
and then you want to get your actual restaurant like no.
That's why the Denny's is convenient. That's why I love going to that Denny's because I'll be like, well, bitch, I can walk home here if I needed to.
And it's always Denny's Chronicles. Come on,
yes.
Always. Every single time I've been into that Denny's, there's been something that was about to pop off in some way, shape, or form. Something, always. And I'm like,
nothing. The
diner and the College Park Diner, baby, the College Park Diner.
I could go for that tonight. No,
but College Park. Listen, I felt so bad because I had some brothers coming to town. They came. This was like a couple years ago. And they were like, "Oh, we'll meet you at the diner." I was like, "All right, bet, cool." I was like, "I don't live too far from there. I'll meet y'all there." And my Sans called me. And he was like, "Hey, what do you want about the order?" I was like, "I'm on my way." I was like, "I'm coming." He was like, "Okay, yeah." So I gave my order. As soon as I walked in the door, she was like, "Wait, but you ordered that for him?" She's like, "All you had to do was just say it was for him." I was like, they said, "Damn, you come in that often?" I was like,
that sounds like judgment.
I was like, I don't need y'all to judge nothing about me.
You know what that place is? If you grew up in this area, then you might be Tyra will be familiar with the Tuttle House.
The Tuttle. No.
Yeah, so the College Park Diner is the
change the name. Okay.
They changed the name. The waffle tastes the same. Everything about that place is the same. That's probably why I like the Waffle House, because the Waffle House and Tuttle House is almost the same. Where it's a little kitchen right there, so you can see everything.
With the College Park Diner, I love the service that I get because both my sisters, I can't remember their names right now. They're sisters that work there. They both have red hair. They work in there. They're very nice. They come in there like, "Baby, listen, this is what you want. You want to get this right and get the don't put that together. I got you. My coffee's always right. My tea's always right. My bacon, my omelets are always right. Like it's good. So, but do you remember Steak and Egg Shack? Who were those little steak and egg? They were like small little restaurants called Steak and Egg Shacks or whatever. Oh my God! There was one in DC. Last one I saw was in Bethesda.
Huddle House and Tuttle House are essentially the same thing.
But anyway,
yeah.
Anyway, so let's get on into the midst of this. We got a lot.
All right, so Stunt Queen. So Slim, who would have ever the fuck Slim Danger is, claims Odell Beckham Jr. likes to be shit on in the bedroom. So Slim Danger is the mother of Chief Keef's child. So, I mean, I guess if you know who the fuck Chief Keef is, then you could care.
This is where I'm showing my age. I'm kind of like,
I mean, I've heard of Chief Keef.
You have?
Chief Keef? Yeah, I've heard the word Chief Keef, and I know that he is a person. And I don't mean that like.
No.
I mean, I'm aware that he is an artist. Yes, Mufasa. There's this Greek diner just past it's not German Square. What's the end of the line on the path in Jersey City? It might be Newark. It might be at the end of the line in Newark.
Okay.
There's a cute little Greek diner that stays open all night. I feel like we went there one time.
Wait, bitch. No. We talk about the New Jersey area, bitch. If we anywhere in New York or whatever, bitch, we need to go back to that motherfucking bodega that was out of the motherfucking hotel. Bitch, what hotel was that again? I don't know, but this motherfucking bodega, shout out to this bodega in New York. Bitch, you know who you are. You gave us sweet Vidalia onions and provolone cheese on a cheeseburger at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Listen, those little bodegas to give you some of the.
You gave me a chicken salad sandwich on a croissant. Fresh!
And that chicken salad.
It was good as shit! Oh my God.
You know what it is? I'm hungry as hell. I've been trying to accelerate my weight loss and really watch what I eat. So what did I have to eat today? I had some greens left over, and then later on I had. You know what really does help your metabolism? It's eating an apple a day. Because like I ate the apple and I felt full and everything, but then
it's good fiber. So
yeah. So anyway, back to Chief Keef. Chief Keef's baby mama, Slim Danger, she appeared on the No Jumper podcast called Fox Next Door, which tells you. She says Odell likes to be pooped on. Furthermore, she said that Odell flew her out after he asked her to record a video of her taking a big old dump and send it to him. She said she did.
So here's the thing.
Okay, I mean, for the vanilla people and those who pretend to be kinky, that's a scandal. I don't care. Is it something that I would personally do? Maybe, maybe not. I certainly have done that sort of thing before. I would take a picture of it, but I have shit on someone before. And I'm not embarrassed to admit it, and I don't really give a fuck what people think. And I don't care that Odell Beckham Jr. did it. He's a single man.
Yeah.
She's apparently single.
My thing with this is...
Michael, that's a good girl. Good girdle. Yes, I have lost weight. There's also a good girdle happening.
Listen, I don't. I feel like my reason for even bringing this story up is that is so minor for me. That is so like it's like okay, like you should. Okay, great. That's like you want to do it.
He doesn't like to be.
Allegedly, we'll just say allegedly, he likes to watch people poop, or he wants people to shit on him, or whatever. Okay,
and what she said, she didn't even say he likes. She said in this video that he liked to be pooped on, but she said all she did was he flew her out there and took a video of herself taking.
That is correct.
Pooping.
That is correct.
Pooping. Taking a shit.
So my whole point is, this is not news for me. I'm kind of like, okay, well, whatever. But I'm like, girl, are you saying this because you want to try to expose her for something? Or are you saying this because you are talking about this album or whatever it is you're trying to do, whatever project you're working on to try to get yourself up there? Because I don't understand what that's not really a big deal for me. It's kind of like, okay. Well,
why is anybody's private sex life that doesn't affect anybody else?
What does that have to do with anything?
Any of anyone else's business?
So, it's like, all right, whatever. And I was like, there's some clout chasing here. Not even clout chasing, but there's some, you're trying to get something out of this. And I don't know what that is. So that's not, it felt very special.
Well, her name is Slim Danger. So I'm going out on a limb and saying that she's a rapper as well. And I'm betting that this is, something to do. Because otherwise, why would she even be on somebody's podcast? Because just being the mother of someone semi-famous's child is not enough for you to be on a podcast. So I'm betting she has some sort of project.
Probably. I don't know.
But also, she's dumb because this is.
I feel like I'm lost behind the banner.
Yeah, I'll fix that. I can probably tilt the camera up. But yeah, it's really none of no one's business. So what's more important to me is this next story where a white professor admits she pretended to be black and says, "I absolutely cancel myself." So George Washington University historian Jessica Crew revealed in a Medium post that she's lived under various assumed identities within a blackness I had no right to claim. So, I read her post on Medium, and it was long and blah, 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 and very white womany to explain some foolishness about, she says, I have eschewed my lived experience as a white Jewish child in suburban Kansas City under various assumed identity within a blackness I had no right to claim. First, North African blackness, then U.S. rooted blackness, then Caribbean rooted Bronx blackness. I am not a culture vulture. I am a culture leech.
Listen, Jessica, girl, you are many things, and these are some of the things that you are. But I think for me, where I felt a little bad about this article was that someone, it says later on in this article that I'm going to pronounce your name incorrectly. Hope I don't. Yarmar Bonilla, a political anthropology professor associated with Hunter College and CUNY's Graduate Center, confirmed that in this video that we saw that it was crude. And then she also said that while they were scholars in the New York Public Library's Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture, Krug dressed and acting inappropriately, showing up to a morning seminar dressed for a salsa club and acting, woker than that. And she said, in that sense, she did gaslight us, not only into thinking that she was a woman of color, but also to thinking we were somehow both politically and intellectually inferior.
And that's the same shit that Rachel Dolezal did.
Yeah, I'm like,
it's not just it's not, and I'm not minimizing the pretending to be black part.
Right.
It's
that part.
It's the not only pretending to be black, but then saying to other black people or other Afro-Caribbean or Afro-Latino people that they aren't black or Afro-Caribbean enough. And
questioning,
right, like they said, she showed up for a meeting, a morning seminar. This is apparently when she was, pretending to be Afro-Caribbean, dressed for a salsa club, right. And that's some white woman shit that showing up thinking that blackness or Afro-Caribbeanness or being from North Africa or Muslimness or Asianness is a costume or a look that you can wear, and you think you're giving some homage. You show up to some meeting in Tokyo in a fucking geisha outfit, and the people are looking at you, bitch, this is a fucking business meeting. The fuck are you doing?
Get your shit together. Like, listen, one of my favorites of all time, Bugs Bunny, and I don't even know which cartoon this is, but that bitch they zoomed in on his face and his lips got all big and he
said, exactly. So fuck her.
Yeah. So that was,
and I hope they sue her ass for fraud and false pretenses.
She did an article with Essence as well. She was up for an award as well. She was up for, according to Duke University Press, her book Fugitive Modernities was a 2019 finalist for the Frederick Douglass Book Award. Like, really, girl, like you're taking spaces. It's one thing you're taking spaces from people that you're taking awards in spaces that were created for people who don't have space anywhere else.
Right.
And you're now taking up space here. So it's like,
right.
It's the thing where you have those people that don't like you because of the color of your skin, or don't like you because of where you're from, or don't like you because of your cultural background, but yet and still they find it appropriate or they find it cute to say, I want to go ahead and I want to make this mainstream. I want to take this larger than what it is, and I want to do this. I want to make it more than what it is. And I find it fashionable for me to put myself in the mix of it. And it's like, no, you're discounting it. You're whitewashing it. You're making it something that it's not.
Right. And then, as Maida says, her audacity to act like she was doing something to help the culture by exposing herself.
Well,
you should have just disappeared. You should have just sort of disappeared from the face of the earth and just done something else. Or you could have just said, to all the people I heard, I pretended to be a white woman. I pretended to be a black woman, and I am sorry, and just leave.
And just
write this.
So all this canceling herself, she absolutely canceled herself, and culture leech and culture.
Yeah, and what you just said about taking up space and all of that. That's why people have strong feelings about white people who have dreads and stuff. And for me, it's not about the hairstyle itself, although given that the texture of some white people's hair isn't conducive to doing that on its own. So, like, people who have dreads and locks still wash their hair. Listen, as a white person, you can't make your hair do that unless you abuse it or neglect it, because your hair is naturally a straighter texture. Locks are designed it was a style that was the result of kinky hair. Yes. So maybe if you have Jewish ancestry or North African ancestry, and still, you know, you're still Caucasian, maybe you can do it. But if you're from Sweden or England or something, your hair don't do that. And, you know, when people like Kylie Jenner and other people do it, you know, okay, on the surface of it, it's fine. But Kylie Jenner, the white woman, is celebrated for it. But in fucking Jamaica, Jamaica, the home, not the home of, I mean, they're not the only people, but it's clearly identified with the lock style and dreads and braids and all that. The Supreme Court there said that people could be fired and discriminated against for having locks. So, and then that's in a black country. So you think in this country, Kylie Jenner, the white woman, you know, is celebrated, but Kylie Jenner, the black woman, shows up for a job with the exact same braids that Kylie Jenner had, and she's ghetto, she's unprofessional. Before she's even opened her mouth or proven her ability to do the job or anything. So that's what cultural appropriation is about, is stealing from black culture without realizing the significance of it and not even willing to be able to accept that you are appropriating a culture and respecting it. You know,
it's not wrong to do that. It's not wrong, but is it right? That's the question. Is it right? Like it's not right.
Right. No one is dying because they're doing this, but you have to acknowledge other people are suffering who don't look like you. And then if you said, you know, I'm gonna do this, and then I'm going to donate, and then I'm going to start this campaign, you know, of people of all hues. I don't know. I'm just making this up on the fly. But, you know, if this is something that you want to bring into the mainstream by showing other people of color as well as yourself doing this, that's one thing. But if you're doing this just to make money or to make your statement or some old bullshit or something, then get something away from
that. Just no. No. So, yeah. But anyway,
next up. I didn't even hear about this.
Oh my goodness.
I heard about this like just now, but I didn't hear about it when it happened. Well, I didn't hear it wasn't characterized as a SWAT raid.
So yeah.
Anyway, so SWAT team raids Baltimore gay bar after complaints.
So so the owner of the Baltimore Eagle, LGBTQ leather, as they call it, leather Levi bar, has been around for 30 years, and they've raised some strong objections to what he says was an August 7th raid on his establishment by a dozen of representatives of city regulatory agencies who claimed they were investigating a complaint that the Eagle was violating COVID-19 social distancing. Okay. So the owner, Ian Parrish, told the Washington Blade that the raid came shortly after he alerted officials with the Baltimore Board of Liquor License Commissioners that he learned that people associated with the competing LGBTQ establishment filed complaints against the Eagle with the Liquor Board and the City Health Department, falsely claiming that the Eagle was violating social distancing requirements. He said his attempt to alert the Liquor Board and Health Department about the false complaints apparently did not reach the people who conducted the raid. Now, Parrish said one of the officials in charge of the agents that conducted the raid, all of whom wore black body armor, became angry when he asked to take their temperature as they arrived to the Eagle's door. Parrish said taking people's temperature is part of our COVID-19 protocols for all people entering the premise. Where the response was, "We're fucking Liquor Board," quote unquote, was the answer to their request. Parrish said in an email to Maryland State Senator Mary Washington, a copy of which he sent to the Blade, he said, quote, "Then the horde of agents in body armor walked through me. I was ping-ponged from side to side as each agent physically pushed me from left to right and back at about 10 feet as they forced their way past me." He said not only did these agents abuse their authority by assaulting me, they put our patrons at risk by willfully ignoring the state of Maryland COVID protocols. And some of them weren't even wearing masks. Okay, so he goes on to talk about this. Okay, so now, here's a spokesperson from the Baltimore City Health Department, Adam Abadir, responded to the email to a Blade inquiry about the concerns raised by Parrish. Abadir said that at least one of the individuals that filed the complaint against the Eagle sent the health department a flyer issued by the Eagle advertising a phone party scheduled to take place on August 7th and 8th. The flyer, a copy of which Abadir sent the Blade, states, "Throw your harness and get naughty under the piles of safe antibacterial foam on our social distance patio." According to Abadir, the task force members determined through their inspection that the Eagle was in violation of a mayoral order issued on August 7th, just hours before the Eagle raid that banned indoor operations at bars and restaurants after 10 p.m. Abigail said that due to threats made against members of the social club task force during past inspection visits with other establishments, the task force members unfortunately must wear bulletproof vests, the flak jackets for their protection, which he said was the body armor that they had coming in, which is what Parrish was calling it. Now, another
person, does seem like a lot.
It seems like a lot, but then also, this is what I'm going to say. It's Baltimore. You raid the club, but you better be ready. And like Tony said, put your guns out. Ow.
Right. I get that you know. But I see both sides. It seems like a lot, but they do have a job to do, and if they have been harassed or whatever, but club owners, don't want you to show up. Most clubs are like, sure, officer, please.
Right. They want it. So, but now here's the thing. Now, a spokesperson for the Baltimore Board of Liquors said that he provided the spokesperson provided the liquor board explanation of the raid.
If he had just complied.
The liquor board gave the explanation of the raid in a September 2nd email to the Baltimore City Council member. And he said in the message that the inspection visit to the Eagle was prompted, among other things, by the Eagle's flyer advertising its phone party, as well as 2 complaints about the Eagle from citizens who called the city's 311 non-emergency services phone line to report the complaints. In this case, please note that on August 7th, though the location had major COVID violations, it was issued a warning. So then Parrish goes on to say that later he learned the mayor's order banning indoor operations in restaurants and bars was issued at noon, just hours before the raid took place. He said no one from the liquor board or health department contacted the Eagle to inform the club about the revised order. He just complains and says there's no reason why a call, a text, or email can be sent out to licensees.
I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
If there is a rule, every time there's a change in the enforcement, I think, yes, the onus is on the licensee to let the people know. But if you make some sort of immediate change, how difficult is it to, send a mass email? Because you got to keep that information up to date.
Yes, you do.
So, and because this is a fluid situation, you would think that there would be like automated phone calls set up, because that shit could change every day. So, are you rating? Did you rate every establishment for that? So it sounds, for a number of reasons, some of us have issues with the Baltimore Eagle, but in this case, it does seem a little stunty. I certainly get that the city might have been within its rights to issue a violation, but if you change the rules, regardless of your feelings on the nature of the event, right? If in the days leading up to this event, everything that they were doing was legal, then the day of the event at noon, you change the rules.
And which Parrish also said, one of the task force members said, yes, the rules have been changed so much it might be confusing. That's what.
So how are you supposed to know if some shit changes? That's just bull. I feel like he has a case.
Yeah. He said now the owner of the Eagle believes that the people who filed what he says were false complaints against the Eagle were drag performers associated with a competing LGBTQ venue, but he declined to identify the competing venue.
But here's my thing about that too. That's also shitty enforcement, because if you're I can imagine any number of scenarios where someone with an axe to grind calls and says, over at at the Pank, right? They shaking the titties. So what you do is you don't commit a ton of resources to do an actual raid. You send someone in there undercover as a patron to say, even if the task force is like sitting in a van around the
investigate it first.
But you send some dude that's dressed like he's coming to the party and he's got a microphone. You don't even need a fucking microphone. You
just go sit here.
You just need your cell phone. all you need to do is call them and say, yep, they're violating the rules. Then you can say that. But they busted in there under nothing but a charge. So, I mean, people could do anything. I could call right now and say that any establishment in Baltimore isn't doing that. So are they going to bust into that establishment based on the anonymous word of somebody on the phone?
Listen, I mean, I don't know.
Sounds shady.
It's very shady. It's very, it's very possible
shenanigans. What Mary and Barry say, the bitch set me up.
Very shenanigans. It was like Tyra said that as well. It's a bullshit setup. Yeah. So we'll see how that. We'll keep our eye on that and see how that actually goes.
Oh, so in the next one, I'm going to say. Oh no!
Listen, after 14 years, keeping up with the Kardashians,
keeping up with the cadavers.
Well, keeping up with the Kardashians is over. Kim Kardashian broke the news to fans in a lengthy Instagram statement on Tuesday. The E-reality show first premiered in 2007, originated with Ryan Seacrest, who was the executive producer. In April of this year, it was claimed that the show had its lowest viewing figures, which had sunk to under 900,000. At its peak, 10.5 million viewers tuned in to watch Kim's ill-fated wedding with Chris Humphries in 2011. The series will return for season 19 on Thursday, September 17th, followed by one last season in 2021. And you all know that the Kardashians they're known for just like all their stunts and shows and shenanigans that they go on. But there was no reason for the decision, but he said in a statement that it respects the family's decision to live their lives without cameras. In recent years, numerous siblings, including the most recent Courtney, have been reluctant to film the show. Now, let me also say this about Courtney. Courtney and Kim, watching them two fight, listen, Kim may not want it for Courtney because Courtney slapped the dog shit out of her on one episode. And I was like, what am I excited about this? But anyway, so there's been several spin-off shows and everything else. But the other thing about the Kardashians, and specifically with Kim, the series gained momentum actually after Kim gained notoriety for starring in a leaked homemade sex tape with Ray J. Now, the porn company Vivid Entertainment bought the rights to the tape for $1 million and released the film under the title Kim Kardashian Superstar. But Kim would later sue Vivid for ownership of the tape, but ended up settling for a reported $5 million.
All right, so Jane Fonda says Marlon Brando was disappointing and that she regrets not sleeping with Marvin Gaye. So she said, so this is what she said to people. She gave a New York interview to the New York Times. She played a quick round of confirm or deny in which she opened up about her time with various stars. Asked about her experience with Brando, with whom she starred in the 1966 drama The Chase, Fonda didn't seem to be moved by the late actor. She says he was, quote, disappointing. Despite her relationship with Brando, she acknowledged his strong skills as an entertainer, calling him a great actor.
It's not true.
It says he asked her, Maureen Dowd, who was the Times reporter, asked her to confirm that your greatest regret is that you never had sex with Che Guevara, which Jane shut down. She said, no, I don't think about him. She says, who do I think about? What if my greatest regret is Marvin Gaye? He wanted to and I didn't. She admitted, I was married to Tom Hayden. I was meeting a lot of performers to try to do a concert for Tom, and the woman who was helping me do that introduced me to Marvin Gaye. Like, okay. So yeah, it's a good tie into our story of Marvin Gaye a little later.
Yeah. So, speaking of tying things down and tying into stuff, I'm only going to bring this up just because I find it very natural. So multiple boats sank during the Trump boat parade on Texas Lake. So, calls poured in to the Travis County Sheriff's Office describing boats in various states of distress. A parade of boats on the Texas Lake intended to honor 45 threatened to turn disastrous when multiple vessels began sinking. Just out of nowhere. It's like Jackie Washington Day. People just died.
What happened was there were some people, it's a lake, it's not the ocean. So you can, like in the ocean, waves dissipate.
Exactly.
In a lake, waves don't dissipate. So when you got these big ass boats, going back and forth, and these little boats got caught in the swell of these big boats,
but all boats matter
and sank.
Okay.
But yeah, all boats matter. So so it was just quite the lovely metaphor about the big not really caring about the. It's supposed to be a parade, so I would have thought that everybody would have just been like, "Woo, girl, let's just get out on this lake and get drunk and hang around and party and bullshit on this lake and talk about how much we love 45." But no, I guess the girls, with the big boats had to show off their dicks and, just ride around. And, people with their little boats, imagine, if you get caught in the weight of some big boats. And then if this big boat goes this way and that big boat goes that way, then these waves are competing. And, it could, what do you call it when the, when the water, it's a word for when the boat, it capsizes, or, the boat takes on water.
Okay.
And so.
Well, anyway, so 4 boats sank, and I just want to point that out. I don't want to, I'm not going to sit back.
Apparently everybody's alive. So
yeah, I'm not going to sit back and laugh. But I just felt like it was just.
I'm going to laugh. So.
But anyway, there was a teacher who actually recreated Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion's hit song to inspire students. So this whole WAP phenomenon, because the song is like still blowing up the charts, and it's interesting to me that I see all this stuff on TikTok and I see all these things on Instagram, and music is universal, but a lot of these people that are doing these WAP challenges and TikTok challenges, they don't really look. Okay. But anyway, a Virginia teacher used the popular Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion song WAP to get her students motivated for the school year. This was something that was reported on Yahoo.com's Lifestyle. Now, she reported that teaching gives her purpose, and the teacher's name is Ebony Harrington. She's a middle school teacher at Lucy Addison Middle School in Roanoke, Virginia. And she said she truly enjoys inspiring and encouraging our future leaders of tomorrow. She said she was devastated when school ended early this year because of the coronavirus, and she was determined to engage with her students. Her passion for education didn't waver amid the pandemic, and Harrington continued her annual tradition of creating a back-to-school rap to get her students pumped up for the school. In previous years, she recreated Bruno Mars and Nicki Minaj hits. This year, Harrington decided to put together a music video and a process that took 2 weeks. The video posted to the Roanoke Public Schools Facebook page has been shared 2,000 times. So she said that she finds writing the song was both fun and challenging, and she was super excited to commit to changing the words of today's most popular song. She got feedback from family and almost every day, and even asked the cheerleaders and coaching staff for their thoughts. She said, "I knew if the cheerleaders were feeling it, then the community would be just excited to make that more." So I'm here for her doing her research, because if the cheerleaders was there, because listen, Starkeisha was a cheerleader when she was younger, and so if Starkeisha was feeling that beat, then we was gonna make it happen. So I'm just saying. That's just she wanted me to put that out there.
So sorry. Next story. A pyrotechnic device at a gender reveal party sparked one of the California wildfires that burned has so far over 8,600 acres. So there was apparently a smoke generating pyrotechnic device used at a party that sparked the El Dorado fire in San Bernardino County. Yada yada yada, blah blah blah. I don't really know what else you can say about this other than that. Other gender reveals have caused fires. So in 2017, a gender reveal party in Arizona sparked a wildfire that burned nearly 47,000 acres and caused $8 million in damage.
So interesting to note that the expected father off the U.S. Border Patrol agent had packed the target with explosive tannerite and shot him with a high-powered rifle. He pleaded guilty in 2018 to a misdemeanor and was sentenced to 5 years probation in order to pay almost $8.2 million in restitution. Right. So although they've identified some people for this fire, I can't imagine being responsible for destroying so much earth. Yeah. and then to put a price tag on it, and then to say that I'm going to have to go ahead and pay this back.
Yeah. So for me, I know that there are some people in our community who have a problem with gender reveals because of whatever. I don't personally have a problem with people who want to know the gender of their child before they're born. I mean, people invest all kinds of things in whether their child's going to be a boy or a girl. Yeah. I have a problem with like, in some countries, I'm not even going to say what's common because it's not just where we might think. But some countries and some cultures place a premium on boys versus girls. Yep. So I definitely have a problem with that. But just wanting to know whether, your child is a boy or a girl, it's like Mufasa said, just get a fucking cake that says, because I remember the cake used to be, it was like you would cut inside of it. You would cut it, and whether it was pink or blue, right? Whether it was a boy or a girl, it's like, oh, that's cute, that's lovely, I'm just like, why has it become this huge thing? I mean, I get that some people have a problem with the conversation about the child's genitalia, but most people do want to know. I mean, some people are completely happy with being surprised. But other people do want to know, because they want to have thought about a name that is perhaps appropriate to it. They want to know if, because there was my father's name was Charles. And there was some talk about naming me Charles as well. Or, no, really go for Sterling, which would have been 100% worse. Or, any number of reasons, and I personally don't have a problem with people wanting to know.
That is Sterling. It's like, I see Silver, Eldorado, or Lincoln Mark 7 from like 1974, and anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So I just think it's ridiculous the level of time and effort that people are spending on this. Yeah, just have a cake and something, that says, congratulations, it's a boy or something.
They were doing balloons at one point. They were popping them in.
But even balloons, balloons, you go up in the air, and birds swallow them and stuff like that. But that's less damage than a fucking fire that burns 47,000 acres.
It's a lot, and I can't. The guilt that I would have, it's like, oh my gosh, really, I'm responsible for this. It's like, I can't.
Yeah, it just seems ridiculous. And like, if you see pictures of the sky in San Francisco right now, dark. Yeah, it's like
orange.
Can you just imagine the air quality? Like, if you have any sort of breathing problems, you should not be going outside in San Francisco.
When you're having a healthy baby, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I kind of feel like if I had a child, curiosity part of me would be like,
I'm gonna love the baby either way.
Yeah, so I feel like I would have personally, I would have a name prepared for whether the child was a boy or a girl.
Yep.
And for the first, to be clear, for the first year, that child is going to be cognizant of anywhere that you put it. You could literally put that child in a undecorated room for the first year, and the child wouldn't know the difference. Because if you spend time with the child and you read to them or whatever, and maybe have a mobile over the crib, but putting shit on the walls and making sure the room is all pink if it's a girl, and having all that kind of shit. I mean, they're not even in a position to do that. That's like when they have birthday parties for like a 1-year-old. That child don't know the difference. That child isn't going to understand significance of a birthday until they're about 3
4 or 5.
Well, maybe 3 at the earliest.
Yeah.
So who gives a fuck? It's a child.
It's like, let them be a kid. Let them just be a kid. Run around in your diaper with the damn pamper.
Yeah, and if you do want to know, like I said, have your bakery. Contact the doctor. The doctor will tell you what color to make the inside, so you don't know. So all you do is bring home this cake that has white icing on it. You don't know what the fuck it is till you cut into it. Then you know, and then that's it. That's it.
I don't know, but anyway.
Then I saw like 2 seconds of this Golden Girl thing with It was Tracy Ellis Ross, Regina King, who else was it? Alfred Woodard and Sanaa Lathan.
Yes.
Along with Lena Waithe. And I watched like 2 or 3 minutes of it, and I was like, it's
so they did.
It's the amateur quality for me. I mean, it just felt like it felt like a table reading. It was a table reading, but I feel like if you're going to record it and have people tune in and want to do it, you should at least have read it before. It really felt like the first table reading that they hadn't reviewed it at all.
All of that, I thought it was interesting because for me, when I first heard about the Tracy as well as Regina and Sanaa and Alfred doing this thing, I thought it was going to be kind of they literally making over the Golden Girls.
Yeah.
Well, it actually was. It was really set up to talk about being able to vote or pushing voting as well as completing the census.
Yeah.
And so, I found that part admirable, and I thought it was much needed, and they talked about a few things, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. It's actually the way it actually is set up. They have another episode that they're actually supposed to do later on they have other episodes supposed to do up until the election, and so they're probably going to do
are they all original episodes? Or are they recreating existing episodes?
So here's the thing: it says that the actors they remade the classic episode The Flu. If many of you know, are both of those fans, you know that at some particular point they were all sitting on it. It was Dorothy, Blanche, and Rose were sitting on the couch, and one of them was holding their ears, and one of them was holding their face. They were all like, it was a good episode. Well, anyway, the production team was also Tessa Thompson, Issa Rae, Ava DuVernay, Karen Richardson, Ryan Bates, Kerry Washington, Rashida Jones, and Cynthia Erivo. And now it is in partnership with Zoom, and they're going to continue a rotating cast of actors every Tuesday at 3 p.m. until Election Day 2020.
Okay,
so we don't know what the episode is going to be, and we don't know.
You got to do the road. Condoms, Rose. Condoms.
Right. So I'm going to tune in just because.
No. Lesbians.
So, but anyway, I thought it was interesting to watch. Now, something in my spirit, like I love all these women that I just mentioned. I think they are wonderful. And it's a table reading, and I get it. But Sanaa, I feel like every time I see her, I feel like it is the same person or same emotions. Like I don't feel like she's a lot of.
Oh, she gives you
dead. It's kind of like the same.
Every performance that she has is the same performance.
Yeah, it's like when she's quiet, I feel like I get more emotion from her when she's quiet. Like I hate to do this, but one of my favorite franchises is Alien. One of my favorite movies is Aliens, not Alien, but Aliens. The second. And then that whole franchise of Alien versus Predator, like I thought it was a great.
Game over, man. We're all going to die.
We're going to die. So anyway, I felt like that was a great thing. And when I saw Alien versus Predator and I saw Sanaa as the lead character, I was like, it's going to work. And once again, when she doesn't speak, it works for her because she does this emoting, like you feel her emotions, and I get that. But I wasn't feeling her as this Arctic explorer that was. I wasn't buying it. But anyway, I'm glad that come on, Cypher, gonna stuff a chicken, gonna stuff a chicken, like my mama told me, like my mama. Right. But anyway, so I don't know, but I appreciate her work, and even on Cleveland shows, like at one point she was on voiceover for Cleveland show as well as his wife, and I think someone said that it was Vanessa Bell Calloway that was on it originally.
Really?
I think that's what. But again, this is a conversation I've had with someone. But I know Sanaa Lathan does one of the voices on that, and I can. It works for me. I'm like, all right, fine. But again, I just need to see her face and not say all that. But hey, listen, she's on television acting. I'm not. So
there we go. Yeah. So now, it's time for our verses. So I want to give a shout out to my good Brista from high school, Guy Johnson. So I put this together, and so then I called him and we reviewed it to make sure that the matchup went across. So this week on Versus is Luther Vandross. I'm going to say, because some people be like, anybody to say who is Luther, who is Marvin, and who is Teddy, we can't be friends. Yes, unless your Teddy is Teddy Riley, and Teddy Riley would not be in this group with Marvin.
He would not be in this group, but I'm going to give you a pass on that because he's a Teddy that's made of Marvin.
Right. But Luther Vandross versus Marvin Gaye versus Teddy Pendergrass. We have seven songs. 5 of them are singles by each person, and then there are 2 duets. So, the first matchup, Superstar Until You Come Back to Me versus Distant Lover versus Turn Off the Lights. And I will preface this by saying that, like the battle with Beyonce,
these are just our opinions.
These not only are these our opinions, but you're gonna have to work real hard to beat Luther in any of these categories.
I also say that. Listen, yeah, okay.
Now, I will say that I love all of the songs on here. I mean, I didn't choose any songs. I created this one, so unlike other people creating it, some obscure songs that I didn't know. Mm-hmm. I know all of these songs except for "You Sure Love the Ball" with Guy Johnson.
You've heard it before.
Okay,
you have, and you just didn't know what it was, but you've heard it before. You've heard a couple of remakes, probably.
Okay, yeah. So I love Distant Lover, and anytime it comes on, I have to listen to it. But if I had to rank them, Distant Lover would be at the bottom.
So are we going to rank them, or are we just going to choose whichever?
I feel like it's going to be hard. You can do either, whatever you like. Okay, whatever you like. So I can't choose. I mean, I can choose, and if I'm choosing, it's Superstar.
I'm gonna choose Superstar, but then I would also say that I would then go with Turn Off the Lights.
Turn it off.
Because listen, Teddy, oh Lord,
listen, turn them off. But I'm still gonna have to go with Superstar.
Yeah, I'm gonna listen.
All right, next.
I'm gonna listen to tonight. Oh my God.
A House Is Not a Home. Let's Get It On, and Close the Door.
I'm having a memory flashback.
Let me tell you what you've been waiting for.
Listen, for any of my 70s kids, I like my mom, I keep thinking that growing up, my mother was, she was in her, I was 227 when she had me. So she was a very young, she was a young woman, old enough to know what she likes and what she doesn't like. But when Teddy came, our mother got so excited, like so excited.
Tyra, my freshman year at Hampton, window open, listening to the Quiet Storm, window open, thinking of my boyfriend, waiting to get home so he could sully me. Come on, Sully. So, here we go. So again, I love Let's Get It On. It's gonna flip. So this time for me, Close the Door is at the bottom. Although I love it. It's not that I don't love it, but Let's Get It On is just such a classic. But still, A House Is Not a Home is at the top.
I'm choosing A House Is Not a Home. I'm gonna still put Teddy over Let's Get It On.
Okay.
That's just me.
Okay. Now, Forever, For Always, For Love by Luther versus After the Dance by Marvin Gaye versus Love TKO by Teddy Pendergrass. Think you better let it go. Let it go. Looks like another Love TKO. Now, I'm just saying I know that song, but again, I sing this song to remind myself that there was a time
I'm gonna have to. This is gonna be my first one where Luther's not.
Because but I get that because Forever for Always for Love was the title of the album, but that was not one of the biggest hits off of that album. But yeah, for me, that song does it for me.
Okay. but the problem that I'm having is I don't necessarily know. I think Forever Always for Love is going to probably be a second for me. I think for me, I'm going to have to go with Teddy. Love You. So and then after Dance, whatever. But I'm going to give this one to Teddy.
Yeah. All right, next, Creep. It's always Luther versus Marvin versus Teddy. So Creep by Luther versus You Sure Love the Ball by Marvin Gaye versus Come Go With Me by Teddy Pendergrass.
I was going to take the guy. Yeah. I am going to go with Teddy.
I am too. So this is the first one. This is I like Creep, but in this particular matchup, Come On and Go With Me. Yeah, so
and she's like, I want to stay on that. I can't really stay for a little bit. Just come. Okay, well, all right, I'll stay for a minute.
Right.
I'm gonna go with Come Go With Me, and then I'm gonna go with You Sure Love the Ball. And the reason why I'm gonna go with You Sure Love the Ball, unfortunately, is not Marvin's version. Believe it or not, it was Montel Jordan's version when he sang the song. There was a remake that he did of that, and I actually like it. How does it sound? I can't even. I don't even know all the words of the song. It's a very jazzy outlet for me. But
come on, Tyra, say it for me for a time. Creep, 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 creep. I saw when he was in concert. So he's walking up the stairs, and each time he said, "Say it for me 16 times." Creep, 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 creep. I'll tell you, just that simple thing. It was just the artistry, and he put on. That's one of the best concerts because it was Luther, Lisa Fisher, and Sounds of Blackness. Mm-hmm. That was the best.
That's
concert.
The one in the middle with the spinning stage.
Mm-hmm. And Lisa just had that one song, but she was a background singer. And
really, there's something very predatory about Come and Go With Me. I feel like you should slide open the ice cream truck door and poke his head out. Really?
Yes, that's a look. Okay. All right, next matchup. Never Too Much by Luther versus I Want You by Marvin Gaye versus I Don't Love You Anymore.
I'm going with I Don't Love You Anymore. Just the same.
Now, I do love that, but woke up today, look at your picture just to get me started. I called you up, but you weren't there, and I was broken hearted. Hung up the phone, can't be too late. The boss is so demanding. So for me, my mother loved Luther to an extent that because I think so. If you look at pictures of Luther at that time, and you look at pictures of my father, they didn't look alike.
Sure.
But there was a certain similarity. Like if you look at pictures of him versus pictures of me, younger too, not like I'm not so bold to say that I look like Luther Vandross, but there was certainly some favoritism. So, and their marriage was crumbling. So Luther was the Charles, and that she wanted. So like she would listen to all the songs, but she was being. I was like, why is she listening to these songs? And then as I get older, I'm like, oh.
So one of my mom's girlfriends, one of her good girlfriends called up and was like, man, I'm sure you ain't like Luther. I was like, what? She was like, just like Luther. I said,
well, not just like, but I can see.
Listen, and I hated it. So, my hair wasn't gray and all that stuff. But I was like, and I hated it. I was like, I don't know like Luther. I'd love to sing like him, but I don't know. Yeah. But so you got Never Too Much. Is that your?
Yeah, I got Never Too Much.
So I'm gonna go with I Don't Love You Anymore.
Yeah.
And I Want You is still good. It's in there.
Oh yeah, none of these songs are bad. None of these are like, ugh, I hate that song.
Yeah.
So all right, so that was the single. So now here we go to duets. This is a hard one.
This ain't hard for me.
I Who Have Nothing by Luther and Martha Wash versus You're All That I Need by Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell versus Feel the Fire by Teddy and Stephanie Mills. I who have none.
I was gonna say I'm gonna go with Luther. Listen,
baby, the first time I heard that song, maybe it was like 1992 or whatever that album was. I listened to that motherfucking song on repeat so many goddamn times.
That's like for me with Luther, it was on his greatest hits album, the Superstar and House is Not Home, like that whole medley.
Mm-hmm.
Listen.
All right, so If This World Were Mine by Luther and Cheryl Lynn versus If This World Were Mine by Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell versus Two Hearts by Stephanie Mills and Taylor. It's definitely that song, and so is it the version with Cheryl Lynn or version with Tammy Terrell?
Sure.
Of course. I was just asking.
For myself, I'm like, Cheryl Lynn. Yes, you know. No.
Yes, Martha Wash and that motherfucking high note. Yes. Yes. So in this battle, Luther won every category except Creep, and that was won by Come Go With Me for me.
Yeah. And so I have Luther has 4, and then Teddy has 3.
Okay.
Yeah. And Marvin is there over there. So let me say this. I like Marvin Gaye.
Yeah, I mean, I love Marvin Gaye.
I do.
When you put him up against, if we've got to have this ridiculous versus battle thing, then.
But so honestly speaking, like I love Marvin Gaye, and so for me, let me just also preface this. One of my earliest memories of my actual father was him actually picking the seeds out of his weed on the Marvin Gaye album with the red hat. And it's not a bad memory. It's a memory that I have of my father, and as crazy as he was, and whatever issues he had, and all that type of shit. That's one of my memories, and so I always kind of don't know how to feel about that.
Yeah.
But his music, it makes every time I hear it and I see him, images makes me think of my father.
Yeah.
Because my father used to wear little red. He used to roll up like Marvin, and with those little silver boots on that album, I thought that was like everything. But I never. His material is great. I don't necessarily know if I always felt that Marvin was he didn't necessarily do it for me as far as vocally and singing, because he could sing. Let me be clear.
Yeah,
it just wasn't necessarily my first choice.
Yeah, songs that move me. All of these songs by Luther move me to an emotion.
Yes.
And the songs by Teddy move me to an emotion.
Yes.
But we just all have to be clear that Teddy, Luther, Marvin built the lane that Teddy and Luther lived in. So, it's a competition for the sake of this, but it's not suggesting that any one artist was better than.
And the other thing too is Marvin Gaye. While Marvin Gaye was an artist that was before our time and also during our time, I didn't pay attention to Marvin Gaye's music from the standpoint of as a fan until Sexual Healing.
Yeah.
Like, as a kid,
came out in 1984.
Yeah, like as a kid, like that, I was like, okay, like Sexual, like this is it. I'm like, yeah, ooh, come on. So and I felt like he still had more music to give, and I would have loved to have seen, what he would have done. And even there's this controversy, or not controversy, but I've heard people are getting a little kerfluffle in their feather somewhere about when he sang the national anthem. The way he sang
it was very
jazzy.
Sort of, yeah.
And at first I was like, I don't know if I like that. But as I got older,
I didn't dislike it, but it never put no teeth in my horn. It was not the Whitney Houston version.
No, it was not. But it made me sit back and think, like, okay, this man has a lot of talent, and I enjoyed it. It was a little different, but I enjoyed it. So
I still remember the way my mother cut up the day that Marvin Gaye died, because he died on April Fool's Day.
Oh yeah, that was his birthday, wasn't it? Was it his birthday or something?
It was either his birthday was either April 1st or April 2nd.
Okay.
So let me ask you, Alexa, when is Marvin Gaye's birthday?
By answering the question, Marvin Gaye was born on April 2nd, 1939.
Thank you. So, but okay, yes, but so his father killed him the day before his birthday. Yes, because I remember when it came out, everybody was like, "Is this like a shitty
and his father had a lot going on. Going on. So that's one of those. That's truly like a love-hate relationship. Anyway, whatever. But
what music am I fucking to?
It probably would be a lot of Luther.
It would be Luther. Because, I'm more...
Well, wait. Let me back up. Fucking to? None of them. If I'm doing some intimacy shit, it's going to be Luther. Yeah. But fucking to? None of them. Maybe... Now, a special shout out to Teddy Pendergrass, because one of my favorite songs, Thelma Houston, Don't Leave Me This Way. Mm-hmm. Teddy Pendergrass did that version over.
Yeah.
When I tell you, listen.
What's the song? You got what I need. All right. you got what I want. Only you, baby, only you. Only you. Ain't never had nobody. Love me this way before. Ain't never had nobody.
Yeah. Listen. And I watched his Las Vegas concert. I brought him on the DVD, and I watched the Las Vegas concert. And probably everybody remembers him because he was in this white bodysuit. Yeah. He sang his ass off, and it was like. But the thing is, it was all sex. Everything about him just dripped sex, and I was like, yes! He had his little Teddy jeans, and the women was going crazy about the designer jeans. And
all right, so let's start my list. Here's some good songs by Teddy. All right, Love TKO, When Somebody Loves You Back, It Don't Hurt Now, Close the Door, Turn Off the Lights, Hold Me, Come Go With Me, You're My Latest, My Greatest Inspiration. Yes. The Whole Town's Laughing at Me. Ooh, baby, that's Feel the Fire. Yes, so we talked about that. Can We Be Lovers? In My Time, Love is a Power. It Should Have Been You.
I think that's what it's later. Love is a Power.
Get Up, Get Down, Get Funky,
Get Up, Get Down, Get Funky, Get Loose. Yeah, Get Up, Get Down, Get Funky, Get Loose. Damn, I can't even remember. Yes. Only you, baby, only you, you, ain't never nobody. How?
Is it still good to you? Because he did that first. Yes. You can't hide from yourself. You can't hide from yourself. And where you go.
And he started off with Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes as the drummer, from what I remember. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what? Come on.
So another song by Teddy that is sort of quiet as kept is called If I Had.
I don't think I recall.
It's a slow song, but it's one of those, like, All right, so we got to talk. What time is it? We good.
It's 9 minutes.
Okay, so we got 30 minutes to talk about the Pank and then Lovecraft. So let's talk about the Pank first. All right, and spoilers.
Spoiler alert for all those,
because we're not going to hold back nothing.
Yeah, we.
So we pick up where we left off. Lil Murda is about to go on stage, and it's him and Mississippi about to go on stage and have that moment, and they do. I feel like I need to look that up and see what that soundtrack is, because a couple of the songs I was like, yeah, M-I, put the letter I, put the letter I, hump back.
So first of all, I remember that.
It's hood as shit. It's trap. It's trap as hell.
But I remember that because, listen, growing up in Philadelphia, all the girls got their little cheers. They be like, you take my listen, the girls would go, and I'll be in the steps like, hold them back, because they was in it. And I was like, yes. Mm-hmm. But anyway.
Yeah, your face is big.
Yeah, it's like I'm happy here. Like, okay.
I can filter camera. So they do their little thing, and her bitch ass husband is sitting in the corner.
Come on for this one. Listen, this young man came in and said, "You don't want none of this, Diamond." I said, "What?"
I thought he was about to get beat, and I was like, beat down.
I'm like, are you struggling with this? Right? I was like, Diamond, what's going
gonna beat your ass like this.
But then I sat back and said, well, come on, white boy, bring it. Yeah. Is that a cricket? Yes. Okay, I like this. Anyway. But listen, that fight it was good, but then it ended with Mississippi and that fucking gun. I was like,
so here's my thing.
I was like, girl.
All right, whatever the dude's name, whatever her husband is name, jacked her up in the corner and was like, if your ass don't come with me. Because
by the time I
Mississippi and Lil Murda were in one of the little side rooms talking to the producer.
In the VIP room.
And they were talking business, and dude was like, Keyshawn, let's go. And she's like, I said, I'll be right fucking there. And, so that was that. Yeah. Oh, and then, when Uncle Clifford came in, and he put his hand on old boy, and old boy was like, I said he's talking business. And he was like,
Clifford was like, oh, okay, baby.
Hell,
I got you.
I got it. And then he left, and he had his little cocktail, and he had his little moment, and then Murda came in, and it was all apologetic. I get it. But he was like, listen, girl, we will not be, here's what we not going to be. Listen, he said, you know what he said? It's the disrespect for me. And then, the husband was like, he hemmed her up in the corner. He was like, you better be in the car by the time I finish taking this piss. Yeah. So he's in the bathroom, and Diamond comes in, and dude is like, you don't want it, Diamond. You don't want it. I was like,
Diamond, and I was like,
you about to get your ass beat. But he gave him the business.
I said, oh my God. Now, Diamond, like, he's going to take that final blow, but Mississippi with that damn.
And then Mississippi comes in with a gun. And so here's my thing. I have intervened a few times in people's domestic entanglements. Never with a gun or anything, or never even involving violence. The time that I got involved was, somebody that I knew, and I knew both of them. Remember, we're in this co-educational fraternity. Mm-hmm. So he was fucking everybody, and she was one of the people that was real private about her business, which worked to his advantage, because then nobody other than me, than us, because we was roommates, knew that they were together. Mm-hmm. So I intervened there, and they've been married for 27 years, 20 years. But when she got back with him, I was like, okay, girl, now, don't call me no more when some shit go down.
Which you already know.
I've intervened once. I've already stepped out of my lane once. And then, Diamond, I'd be like, bitch, don't come in here and talk about, beat me up, girl. And you know what? You pulled a gun on me while I am defending your, and yes, I do have feelings for you. But you pulled a gun on me.
Because, to be quite honest, she did not ask him. Now, I think Diamond was doing the right thing and trying to help her.
Yeah.
But she did not approach him and say, it's a weird, I can't.
However, I will say that what was she planning to do, because the gun that she had was Mercedes' gun.
It was
that
Autumn's
she had.
Gun that she
it was Autumn's gun that was in the locker. When she went looking for that gun, it was, which brings us to the next piece.
Child.
So Autumn's drew that shit.
I'm laughing like shit because I in my mind I'm sitting there saying to myself, I was like, bitch, why is this me and Dominion in here being Autumn and Mercedes? I was like, bitch, she grabbed the bottle and she said, I was like, bitch, what? I was like,
first of all, why did she just bash him over the head?
I was like, girl.
And then, first of all, I would have been like, hell no, I'm not going into this room with you.
Child, listen.
Well, caused the scene right there in the middle of the club in front of all of them people. I would have never gone in a room to put myself in a position.
But while they in the position and they was fighting, I said, okay. I was like, all right. But listen, I don't know if they're ever going to show whatever happened inside.
Oh, they got rid of that motherfucking
Yeah, they did. They got rid of it. But I'm just saying, like, as far as their interaction, but bitch, when she got shot, like, that was probably a bitch, hold him back.
Well, we knew it wasn't Autumn, because I mean, right. Well, it was only really one person it could be, because like Mercedes and Autumn are like the stars.
But Mercedes afterwards, I was like, girl, if you don't get yourself together.
Right, I was like, bitch, get yourself together.
You don't pull together.
I'm the kind of person
you know,
like, right. Because here's the thing, I don't say shit that I don't mean.
Ooh.
And if I had gone so far as to tell my mother, you are dead to me.
Yeah, like I'd have been done. Like
I would have never shown up at her church. Now, I would say our relationship might have been reconciled, but only after mama had come to me and apologized. I sure as hell wouldn't have gone to her for nothing.
Yeah.
Well, maybe without that makeup and without that wig and the plaits, and I was just like, oh, girl. I was looking at her, I was like, God, she looks entirely different.
Listen, makeup is a wonderful thing. I mean,
and a good wig.
Oh, baby, it is a wonderful thing. We are, and I mean, listen.
I mean, yeah, you assumed it was a wig, but I was just like,
oh, it was. So,
and Michael is right. That's what abuse looks like. It's like, they got you hypnotized, and so you and I would have been like, hell no, I ain't going back to the relationship. We probably would have never been in an abusive relationship like that, because the first time he hit you, you'd have been like, bitch, we about to scrap now, and maybe this dick is good enough for me to stay, but if you ever put your hands on me again, I'll cut it off.
Listen, I that abuse situation and watching with my daughter, well, for me, watching women that I knew that went and even my mom and my dad, they had these little moments, and I was just like, I just have zero tolerance for it. I can't do it. I can't. And so, I've been in situations where I've even felt myself in a relationship wanting to put my hands on somebody, and I'm like, it's time to go.
One time, like I'm not going to say his name, but the brother that I was dating, and we was getting on my nerves when we were in San Francisco, and he was kept asking the same question. It was cold as shit. It gets cold as shit in San Francisco in July. And he was like, I'm ready to go. Can we go now? Can we go? I was like, we'll leave in a fucking minute. And then I was like, oh, this is over. Yeah. I was like, oh, this relationship is over. Because I never been that annoyed with someone where I actually lost my temper, even for a brief second. And I was like, I never felt like I was going to hit him or anything. Right. But even to lose
come out of your space.
Right. Even to lose my temper enough to yell at him like that. Just like, this isn't, because it wasn't that I didn't respect him or anything, but I was just like, clearly this is going to work, because clearly he is annoying me enough. Everybody annoys you, people that you love. Right. But clearly he is annoying me enough that I feel like I might say something else that I really don't want to say. So it's like, But so we get to that, and then so afterwards, Mercedes is on her mama's doorstep, and that makes sense, because remember when her mother, when she said to her mother smiled. Remember they was in jail and she said, "You're dead to me," and her mother smiled. I was like, well, why would you smile if your child said she's dead to her? And then I thought about it, and this was even before this episode. I was like,
she said something after that, didn't she? She said something.
No, that was the last words that they exchanged. Okay, and then I was like, oh, well, then now she feels like she's absolved of anything. She feels like she can just right. She don't feel like she's have to pay that money back. She don't feel no guilt about it or anything like that. She's like, you're dead to me. It's like, all right. So then when she showed up on the steps of the church, we knew exactly what she was going to do. And then I was like, Mercedes, girl, please don't abase yourself like this. Child. This woman is not worth it. She has never shown you any kind of love or whatever. Well, Mufasa's right. We don't actually know what happened to Mississippi.
Well, no, we don't. Charlie ain't concerned about him.
That'd be right, because there are two people. So we'll get to that in a minute. So what we do know is that after the scene with the shooting, right? Well, someone got shot in the boom boom room, right? And there was blood underneath, and clearly it was old boy, because Mercedes and Autumn were at the auction the next day. So clearly it wasn't them whose blood was enough blood to be running under the door.
Right. And then we know that Diamond, Mercedes, and Diamond, Mississippi, and her husband, we know that they left out together. Mississippi and her husband, and Diamond was left alone by himself. That's what we know. Right. And then we also know that Cliff was there, and
he was in the room when the final shots were fired.
Yes, he was in the room as well when the final shots were fired. And then also we know that it also wasn't Cliff, because he was actually at the auction as well.
Right.
And but the way they set it up as if they were going to a funeral, which was the auction itself, which threw me off. I was like, okay, I get it. Because I was like, well, but who died? What's going on? And the business deal between Isaiah Washington's character and Autumn's boyfriend.
That's who that is.
That's
Isaiah Washington.
That
I did not like this
because he's probably playing it as truth. Because that's how he's acting now is how I felt like he was.
Yeah, he was one of these
Grey's Anatomy. He was also that person on Grey's Anatomy because he had that problem with the actor, the gay actor.
Yeah.
And I felt like he wasn't trying. He doubled down basically with his thoughts and sentiments about it. But anyway,
shut up.
If he did not, and it didn't happen once, but it happened multiple times. So I was like, but anyway, so we know that the goddaddy is pissed off at him.
Yeah.
And so we know that there's going to be some other shit with that because at the end, Autumn was the bitch with all the cards, and she went into a deal with Uncle Clifford. And
so they're at the auction, and everybody that works at the pink shows up in black, and the fucking mayor shows up in a fucking red suit with a red hat and gators. This is I was like, oh god, Bama. Shit I have ever seen.
Like,
and so, we know he's a Trump supporter, Isaiah Washington. So,
and listen, let me also say that when Autumn showed up in that all white, that she was clean. This that white on white situation. Listen, clean. Then girl, let me give it to you.
You know what? P Valley sounds like. Like someone said, let's remake the Players Club, but in the South. Instead of in LA. Which I'm not saying that is a bad thing.
Now it's so funny because someone put a meme up to say which one do you think would actually walk out the room, and it was J-Lo's character from Hustlers. It was Lisa Ray McCoy, and then also Mercedes, and they had the three of them together. And I was like, these are some bad bitches. I was like, that's some bad bitches.
Yeah. So at the auction. Old boy is on the phone.
Mufasa says that Mayor was the devil, Autumn was the angel.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, red and white, I can see that. Mm-hmm. And so,
the godson's wife.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah. He got some explaining to do because he's like, well, bitch, why did you let this woman?
And he was all like,
right. So the bottom line is that Haley, because it was all up to it, you were thinking that she was doing this to start a new life or whatever, but turned out she was just getting back to fuck with old boy.
Well, I think she probably was trying to start a new life, but I think at this particular point,
the new life is in P Valley.
Now it's P Valley because she owes Cliff. Like whatever happened, because she owes. So why not? She been making money at the bank, so she gonna own her at the bank. She can dance if she wants to, but she an owner. So what the fuck?
Yeah, P Valley was a play 10 years ago.
It was, so I never got to see it. But listen, shout out to Patrick Ian Polk, who's behind the scenes as well as a producer, as an executive producer. Shout out to her name starts with a K. I cannot think of her name right now. But they're doing wonderful things, and I think it was very well written. It kept me intrigued. I just want to see what the next season is going to be.
So, what do we want to see from next season? We want to see exactly what happened with Mercedes and Haley, with Autumn. Yeah, Haley, blah blah blah.
Right.
I have a feeling that theoretically, because remember how she kept looking for missing persons. So there isn't absolute confirmation that the child is
dead. Yep.
There's not absolute confirmation that the child is dead. So there's that. We want to know what happens with Keyshawn and her bitch ass husband and that gun. Because, the problem now is that now that you've shown this dude that you got a gun, it takes away the element of surprise. So we want to know what happens with Lil Murda. Well, two things. We want to know what happens with Lil Murda and Clifford.
Yes.
We want to know what happened with Lil Murda and his manager too,
because that manager, there was some tones.
There was definitely some undertones about what was going on, and
a romance or something.
When the dude from Atlanta was like, "Really, I just want her," and this other dude is like, "Dime a dozen," and he was like, "Well, girl, you can't just use my boy to get to these girls, and one had nothing to talk to, so he left them. So interested to see what happens with them. Right, this Delta Club, which sounds like a gang.
Yeah, they probably
Autumn's husband was a part of or whatever.
Oh, so L and Gidget's boyfriend in the drug deal going. Oh, Al. Okay. So Al and that whole drug deal when he with the
cute white boy.
Yeah, cute white boy. Once he was that's gonna be an interesting play.
Yeah.
Clifford, I feel like is already going to be in the midst as like a puppet master amongst all of this stuff. Like he's going to have a hand in all this stuff. I believe he might come out in a better situation after this next season if they do it right. Because he's going to have secrets for everybody. But the mayor is pissed.
Oh, the mayor is super pissed.
And now that they said there's money to be made since the casino deal is gone, the Pank is going to be making some money. But
here's my thing. I always thought what I thought that they should do is reach out to old boy, the black dude, and now negotiate to sell that fucking land and move the Pink somewhere else.
They could do that. Well,
because let me tell you where a good spot for a strip club is. Right next to a motherfucking casino.
Well, yeah. Because listen, all night long.
Yeah.
Down in the valley where the girls get naked. Next door you can go next door, grab the dice and shake it.
Bravo!
But anyway, the pay, we'll see how this is going to go. And hopefully we'll get something sooner than later. I don't know when the next, like what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. So we'll see what goes on. Hopefully it won't be a whole another year before they do it again. But yeah. Lovecraft.
So, here's my reluctance to see it because I don't like black trauma porn. So I saw Get Out and I liked it, but I have not seen what's the movie he did with Lupita Nyong'o.
Us.
Yes, I'm not really black people. There's enough on the news and other stuff, and so I don't necessarily want to see all of that, but I watched it and I'm glad I did. And I really do mean it. It was, and I follow on The Root. There's this woman, she's a doctor, and her specialty is black horror movies. I didn't know it was enough to do that for. But she's been writing an analysis of each episode and talking about all of the things going on. So I really like the show. I like the themes that it explores, and I like how, there's a symbology of the actual monsters, but then how the monster is also racism. Yes. And then my favorite episode so far was episode 3, when Letty bought the house, and what we thought were these malevolent spirits were really just black people who had been murdered in this house by these white people, and they were trying to seek release from this plane of existence and the horrible way in which they died, and how Letty was able to help them gain release. And all of the symbolism, because they were, so Oya, that's who the voodoo is the American word for it, but Vodou, I think it's Vodou. Yeah. The woman with the blood X's, like that ghost.
Yeah, like right there with that ghost was like that.
Right. She called on Oya, who is the goddess of death, I believe. So she is surrounded by 9 helpers. So there were 8 at her. So remember, they were calling on Oya to excise that white guy from the house. Mm-hmm. There were 8 of them plus Letty, who would also die. Remember, she had died and come back. So they were the 9 helpers. So all of that symbolism, and I loved how Letty, when they burned that cross, Letty was like, I'm done with you, bitch.
Listen, when she got her full baseball bat on, I said, bitch, yeah. That picking, that horn shit.
Yeah. And then I was like, this been going on for like 5 or 6. First of all, as a neighbor, even if, let's say I hated neighbors, but I would be like, we can't do nothing. I mean,
y'all can do something else about this?
Because that affects us too.
Me. Yeah, it's like,
I mean, that just the level of whatever that you're going to put up with this. Because it's psychological warfare on you because you can't sleep either. I mean, that's just such.
She cracked that window that morning. She was like, ooh. Like, oh. But when she wanted that baseball bat, I said, okay. And what I enjoyed about that also at that particular point in time was that the fact that all of the brothers all gathered around with their shotguns, and right outside that house, they was like, bitch, if you even try to come up here. The community was like, bitch, we are going to get this shit together. And I appreciated that. Like, I loved seeing that.
Although I will say that there was a part of me that sympathized with the white people. It's like looking out the window, it's like, all these motherfuckers having a party.
Listen, because that's my neighborhood. Everything, bitch.
That's my neighborhood. Because like I be like, these motherfuckers just have, but they're gonna have a party in the whole fucking neighborhood.
That party it was everything. I was like, come on, the bitch, they was partying. Letitia's sister and the preview that I have going on. There's a connection between Tick, Atticus, and the family line, and the fact that Letitia has a different father than the other two. And I believe that father ties into this bloodline for Tick as well.
Obviously, the father is a white person. I'm assuming that the father is white.
I'm making that assumption.
And it's also interesting, those sort of family dynamics and how that pain and that trauma sort of manifests itself, because either Rose, I think the sister,
I can't remember.
The sister and the brother.
But let me just
their relationship.
She is a beautiful woman.
Oh my God! I've never noticed how beautiful
she is. Beautiful.
I was like,
Journey and her sister, they are beautiful women.
Oh yeah. Oh my God, what's her name? Anjanae.
Oh my God,
yes.
Anjanae is Tick's aunt, the woman singing.
Oh yeah. She's gorgeous too.
That's what that.
Just all these beautiful brown-skinned women, and but I think there's clearly a different relationship between Letty's sister and brother, their relationship with their mother versus her relationship with her mother. Yeah. Yep. So it's always it's a dynamic like that. I think with every household and every sibling, my relationship with my mother is completely different than my sister's relationship. Yeah, I mean, and my sister's relationship, she feels entirely different about some of the things that went on, and then plus I was probably subconsciously running away from stuff. I going away from college, and so she was there for the worst part of the dissolution of my parents' marriage. So, like, we'll be talking about something. I'm like, I don't remember none of that. She was like, but yeah. So that then in the first episode when the monsters came, and the monsters were also like a symbol for racism. No, when she was like, we got to get the fuck up out of here!
I said, oh my God. But then also when Letitia was running in the woods, baby, she's like, you got ran track. Bitch, Letitia was running. She was not looking back. She was like, bitch, go! Yeah. Go! Run, boys, run! Listen, I'm here for the show.
Yeah.
I'm also, and then also the other family dynamics between Tick's father and uncle.
Yeah.
Or father, whichever you, because that,
that's I think it's probably, so what you, remember, so in the second episode, when they get to the house and they're all living in this fantasy world, the uncle was, the book that he pulled, so this is what I get from learning about it. The book that he pulled is, the story is about a magical house where you can, all your dreams come true. So I think that was pretty much the reveal there, that he is actually Tick's father.
So listen,
and that's going to come into play.
It is.
Somehow.
It is.
Because I think what it might end up is that the reason old boy
is slicing folks up and been so hard on Tick.
No. Well, let's go back. If Tick's father was the if Tick is the son of, then so is the father. So why hadn't they done that ceremony already with the father? I think the reason that they didn't is because he's not actually part of the bloodline. What that means is that George and whatever dude, Montrose. Okay. George and Montrose don't have the same father. Whoever George's father is actually a direct descendant of that white man, which means that Tick is. And Montrose is not, which explains why he was treated so differently, because like a lot of families, right? The father was taking out his frustration on his wife having a child with another man on the child.
That could be it. Which is the same dynamics that going on with
yeah.
So I don't know. This is a great show. I'm enjoying it.
Right, the magic didn't work with Montrose because he isn't part of that bloodline. Because there's no reason that if the claim or the purity of the gene dilutes with each generation. Mm-hmm. So if it worked with Tick, it should have worked that little bit much more better with the father. And so if it didn't work with the father, that's telling you right there that he and Tick are not related by blood.
So I don't know.
Right, the mother was the bloodline back in 1820, whatever. But I mean, she had a child, they had a child, and eventually somebody had a son who fathered a child with some woman who was George, who then fathered Tick. That same woman also either had an affair or a previous relationship with some other man who was Montrose's father. So that doesn't mean that Montrose and George are brothers.
Right.
It does mean that Tick and Montrose are not related by blood.
Yeah. So wasn't he the first son? And then that was something else as well, because they did mention that.
Yes. That Montrose was the older one.
Montrose was the older one?
No, Montrose was the younger one.
Oh, George was, because he was the younger and smaller. So George was the first son. So we'll see. And it was other siblings in the house as well.
Yeah.
But he was older. So yeah.
I think this is interesting to me how it ain't been but like 3 weeks since George. It ain't been but 3 weeks since George died. And I don't feel like the family is broken up enough for me. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like they're all like, yeah, he died, he got killed.
The George's wife, she's like, I got shit to do. I got this book put together. I got the green thing.
I do love the reference to the green book.
Yes, the green book and all, like everything about. Listen, that's Chicago,
symbolism and all that.
Chicago being out in the street, that moment when they were out in the street partying. That reminds me so much of as a kid being in Philadelphia and with the water plugs. That is such a great memory for me. Yeah. Living in the city, that is such a great memory, and I forgot about that. Even with my sister, I remember my sister coming out the door one time with some of the guys' neighborhood, picked her up with the water plug, and so it was like, it's so much fun shit that I just remember about living in the city. Yeah. And so
and I love that at the end of episode 2, it was that same slave. First of all, white. It's interesting to me how white people always, they want to downplay slavery. It was like, blah 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 was known to be good to his slaves. Like,
well, hold up. Not only the person, but the shoes. The shoes. Well, I'm talking about the person.
Oh, the person with him? Yeah. But yeah, I love that the mother of the ancestor, the black ancestor, was the one that actually led Tick out of the house as it was collapsing. Also, this is, between this and, what's going on with Beyonce and Black is King and, other stuff. Yeah. And, how some people are, some religious black people are like, oh, that's devil worship. That's Satanism. Like, girl, all of the shit that you're worshiping a sky spirit.
Yeah, like
you still worship your ancestors. You still talk about Big Mama looking after you beyond the grave and all that other stuff. And you're Catholic, you still light candles in the church and do all this other kind of shit. So, even the Christianity that you practice is heavily, heavily influenced by West and Central African deities and ancestor worship and all of that. The same Pentecostal church, the shit that you see in a white Pentecostal church is not the same shit that you see in a black Pentecostal church. And, you talk, people will still get possessed by spirits and all sorts of other stuff.
Wasn't the Pentecostal, I don't know why I'm thinking this, but I remember, what's the Pentecostal church at some particular point directly linked to Satanism? At some particular point. I don't know why I'm thinking that, but I don't know why I'm thinking that. I thought I remember hearing something like that, reading it. But
so I'm looking forward to the next episode on Sunday. So, y'all, it's going to be a good time. And I'm glad that I watched it. Although, there's still parts of it that made my heart. I just whenever black people are in those kinds of situations.
Well, and we're also not finished.
It was another. Let's say it was Booby or whatever. One of the black kids that was at the table when they were with the Ouija board.
That's what, they talk about.
Whatever, let's say it's Booby. That was not it. But Booby was Emmett Till's nickname in real life.
Is that what? Because I couldn't
and that boy was wearing the same clothes. So there's a picture of Emmett Till that he's
with the shirt.
That boy was wearing those same clothes, and it was the summer of 1955, which was the summer that Emmett Till got killed. Yep. And when they did the Ouija board, that boy said, "Am I going to have fun on my trip to Mississippi this summer?" And the Ouija board said no. Yeah. So. I just love all of those levels.
It was a lot of.
And I didn't get all of that when I got it when I was reading the analysis on the backside. I was like, oh, this is.
I may want to read
this. Is deep.
I want to see. I want to see because even in the first episode there was a lot of not the first episode, the second episode there was a lot of symbolism on that. Mm-hmm. So I definitely want to see that. But anyway, it's 10 o'clock, people, and while we are going to bring this thing down. We want to just roll up these credits real quick, and then we're going to come back in a couple of seconds. So take a look at this, and we're going to count this thing out after we get these credits up, and we'll be right back.
Yeah, I have a few more pictures, but yeah, we'll probably do the same. So it has been a fun and eventful show. Thank you all for joining us. We really had a good time with you as usual. I love Aiden. Yes. Well, all right, so thank you all. Thank you all for coming out. We really do appreciate it. Any last words for you?
Listen, we appreciate you guys spending your time with us during this pandemic, and we appreciate you just being with us just in life. These past couple of months inside has been, you guys have made it better for all of us. I can speak for myself.
I got these chairs from Marlowe Furniture, Tyra.
So I just want to say thank you all again, and we appreciate you guys tuning in. Stay tuned. Like I said, we have some guests coming up. I saw Bum tipped his head in, so he's going to be someone that we're going to have a conversation with soon. And listen, other than that, listen, we really appreciate you guys spending your time with us. We have lots of other things we could be doing, but we appreciate you guys doing it.
Hallelujah. So, all right. So, thank you all for coming out. God bless you and good night. Mwah.